Welcome into this special edition of the NCC News Sweet 16 preview show, along with Kevin Mitchell and Josh Golden. I'm John Eads. So glad to be with you this evening. Guys, I got to start by asking, have you made a second chance bracket yet? I know the first one's probably not going too well for anybody, but...
Made a couple of them. The first ones in the first handful when we got into that first weekend were not good. We had a lot of mistakes. We're going back and fixing it this weekend.
I have not. I believe in doing one bracket, and my bracket is horrible.
I'm with you. You know, I think you can make 25 more of the second chance ones as well, so you can kind of boost your chances that way.
There, so
all right,
I need to.
There we go. Well, a whole lot of chaos in this tournament so far, and the first question I want to ask, I'll start with you, Kev. Which team has forced you to take that bracket and just put it in the paper shredder?
Ooh, which team? That's a tough one, but I would have to go with, well, really, the team I've been riding with has been Miami. The team that tore up my bracket, though, was the fact that they beat Auburn. I had Auburn as a Final Four team, so Miami just kind of, I'm loving watching them. My dad went to Miami, so I grew up watching them, but they are completely tearing through it right now.
And I'll one-up you there, Kevin. I had Auburn going on to win the national championship. I really believed in their front court duo of Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith, and at the end of the day, when your front court is so good, it doesn't really matter if your backcourt can't get them the ball. And Miami's guard trio of Charlie Moore, Isaiah Wong, and Charlie McGusty really slowed down that Miami front court that Auburn front court from getting the ball, and that was a big key in that game to get Miami to move on to the Sweet 16.
Talk more about the U later, but I want to know now, guys, is every year there's some kind of crazy story, right? Loyola Chicago, Sister Jean. This year it's the St. Peter's Peacocks. My question to you, starting with you, Josh, is which team have you hopped on the bandwagon with this year?
I mean, it's got to be St. Peter's, right? I mean, they've just been the story of this tournament. To see them go from a school that's so small, really doesn't have the funding that a lot of these programs have in the country, and to see them not only go out and beat a complete blue blood top-of-the-line program in Kentucky, but also then go out on 2 days' notice to beat a really, really underrated Murray State team that I thought was underseeded on the 7 line. Just a phenomenal 2 games from St. Peter's. They now claim that they own the state of Kentucky after beating 2 schools from there, and that they kept proving that, so you can't really argue with them. Incredible story for St. Peter's, guys.
Definitely. The one that I'm really riding with now is UNC. I was not high on UNC coming into this tournament at all. I know they won a lot of games late, but when Syracuse played them, I thought they looked weak. I didn't really think they didn't show the level of dominance that they have continued to show throughout this tournament now. Armando Bacot has been an absolute monster on the boards. They've gotten great guard play out of R.J. Davis specific. Caleb Love is another story. We knew Caleb Love would be good, but R.J. Davis with 30 points against Auburn, you really got to give it up to him. That's what they need if they're going to keep making this run.
And I'll add to that as well. Brady Manick, the Oklahoma transfer, has been playing like Larry Bird for them, knocking down every shot he possibly takes. I mean, we saw him get ejected on what I think we can all agree was a pretty bad call in that Baylor game, and that really switched the momentum of that game.
Yep.
But Manick has been great for the game and a half that he's been able to play for them.
He'll be back for the Tar Heels in their next Sweet 16 matchup. But this looks like a team that could make the Final Four. If they do, they could meet Duke. And it's crazy. These teams have actually never played each other in the NCAA tournament before. But going up to that West region, as we start to break down these matchups, kind of chalk up there. The 1 and the 4 seeds playing, Gonzaga and Arkansas, and Duke and Texas Tech. Kevin, who do you think comes out of this region alive?
It's got to be Duke. It really just has to be Duke. This is such a talented starting 5. You have Paolo Banchero. Mark Williams was the best big man in the ACC all year, I think, hands down. A.J. Griffin, lockdown shooter. And then you still have Wendell Moore and Trevor Keels. That is such a strong starting 5. They get consistent production from Banchero and Williams. Griffin, for long stretches of the season, was really excellent. Keels has been, they've all just been excellent. There's really nothing else to say other than it's Coach K's final year and he's got a great team.
I hate to go chalk, but I'm going to do it here. I got to go with the #1 overall seed Gonzaga Bulldogs. I just trust Coach Mark Few and what he's been able to do with this program. I know that they haven't quite finished it off and won that national championship that he's looking for yet, but I think that they've built arguably the best program in the country out there in Spokane, Washington. I mean, to build what they've built to get 5-star recruits to come to Spokane, Washington and play in the WCC is unbelievable. And they have an incredible 5-star freshman in Chet Holmgren to pair with Drew Timme. Those are 2 elite big men, and I think they'll be able to get past Arkansas. And when we see a potential matchup, whether it be Duke or Texas Tech, I do think they match up well with them. Mark Williams could give them some trouble like he did this past November, but I think that they learned their lesson from that game and they'll be able to win.
All right, so Josh is sticking with the chalk, likes Gonzaga to go back to the Final Four, potentially back to the national championship game as well. Kevin, I'm going to go back to you, though. You like Duke coming out of this region. Do they meet UNC? I know that's your bandwagon team.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think probably. I really think they might. UNC if we're looking ahead, they've got to play UCLA. UCLA is going to be a super tough matchup. Johnny Juzang, obviously one of the best players in the country all year, coming out of that loss to Arizona in the Pac-12 tournament. I really think UCLA seems to have figured it out a bit. It's almost kind of shocked them into it, although obviously Arizona was the better team all year. But I do think UNC can pull that one out, and I also think they can beat Purdue. So I would have to go, yeah, UNC Final Four team.
I think I agree with you there. I mean, when you look at what this Carolina team's been able to do just in the past week or so, they've really kind of turned a corner, and they're playing to their potential with first-year head coach Hubert Davis. I don't typically like to pick first-year head coaches to go all the way to the Final Four, but I think when you look at this East region, I think we can all agree that St. Peter's, although it's a great story, isn't going to go that far. UCLA, I have some questions with both consistency and injury issues on their end. And we've seen Matt Painter and Purdue choke so many times over the years that this just seems like another situation where they're going to choke to a blue blood program in North Carolina.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. That's everything you need to know about the left side of the bracket. Coming up after the break, we'll preview the right side of the bracket. And next week, we'll be back with the Final Four preview as well. Keep it right here.